Excited. Excited for our players. Most importantly, I think they're the guys that have been out grinding all year, and just to see them get um, that opportunity to experience the joy of getting their name called, I think was just extremely great for me. To watch them celebrate and be able to do that, and to be honest, in my opinion, and so clearly the committee's opinion, we deserved it. I know we double bogeyed 18 on the last weekend of the year there, but throughout the year we've been a very consistent team and have beaten some really good teams. And I think these kids, for them to get a shot and to continue playing was deserved. But just for me, again, most importantly was, seeing kids like Jacob Tobias and Jonah Giblin and Isaiah Jackson that have been here for a long time. Those guys get an opportunity. Kian Vu get the opportunity to go continue playing in the postseason is pretty special.
Willie, what can this mean to your program, this team?
I think. Hopefully it's a sign that everything's going in the right direction. The last 4 years we've continued to increase our win total every year. We're in the postseason this year. I think with the future of our program, the things that Dr. Crow and Graham Rossini have done over there, increasing our scholarships, moving forward, that's going to be huge for this program to just continue taking off. I'm excited about that, what we've done with our portal guys we brought in, and those kids have had success. The Matt Kings, the Kyle Walkers of the world, Jack Martinez, Ben Jacobs, all the guys that have come in here have just had tremendous success. This is a destination place that kids want to come, and they know they're going to get better. And now we're going to have some resources backing us to continue catapulting this program forward. So I'm excited, but as far as this team is concerned, just super excited for this group of kids to get the opportunity to get on the national stage here next weekend against some great competition and see what we can do.
How much does it help having guys like Martinez and Kyle Walker who have experienced postseason baseball and can kind of lead the way of what to expect here in the tournament?
I think experience is very important. It's not necessary, but it does help. And having those older guys, and we have an older team as well, so I don't think they're going to go into this and be intimidated. We've been to UCLA this year, which is big. We played against UCLA. We played against Irvine a couple years ago. So we're kind of familiar with the teams that we're playing. And just going into this weekend, I know our guys are just extremely excited for the opportunity, and I know I am too. I'm eager to get there, and we're going to go in a day early just so we can get settled in and get familiarized with this whole thing. But I think having that experience will be important for our guys.
What did you learn from that series in 2023 of how Ben Orloff coaches his team and how they just play the game the right way?
I'm sorry for.
How have you just seen how Ben Orloff coaches his team? A lot of the players said that they noticed that they just play the game the right way. What did you kind of take away from that series back in 2023? Yeah,
Benny and his staff do a phenomenal job of teaching the fundamentals. They're a very solid team. Their results are in the past several years are proof of that. They play consistent baseball, and they do things their way, and they do a great job at it. So, that being said, obviously we're going to a very, very competitive regional with the teams that are there. Obviously we have them first. That's where all our focus is right now. They're going to be tough. They always are. They didn't get ranked in the top 10 at one point this year because they're pretty dang good. So we're going to have to come with our A game and be ready to play, which I know we will, and it'll be a great test for us.
With the double bogey on 18, how do you explain just the offense being so good all season, and then what was, at the time maybe a must-win game, they were shut out?
I think I'm not one to sit up and make excuses. I mean, there's plenty of things that we can point to, but I know it's going to come across as excuses, so I'm not going to go there. The things that we did swing the bats. Talking about the BYU game, we squared up a lot of balls that just didn't find holes. If you look at that score across that game, we struck out 18 of their hitters. We struck out twice. And there was some weak contact on our part early in some counts, but there was also some extremely hard hit balls that we just didn't get any love for. The first pitch of the game, Kyle Walker hits a ball that's probably over our scoreboard here at Muni, but it's an out there. And so I mean, that should have been the first indication, and we tried to make some adjustments and get on top of the baseball a little bit more, but we hit several balls to the track that just didn't carry the way that we're used to it carrying here, and we didn't make the adjustment. So, but I didn't walk away from that game saying we got twisted into knots and didn't swing the bats great. We just didn't find a lot of holes and couldn't get anything going. So that was just kind of a bizarre, eerie, weird game. I didn't put it stung because we wanted to win that one, clearly, but I didn't take a whole lot away from that as we're in trouble. We're not swinging the bats great.
Is Ben going to be your game one starter?
Are we announcing our starters yet, or are we?
Not yet.
Not yet. So we're debating between a couple of guys. Benny's obviously been our Friday night guy all year long. Jack has done a great job on Saturday, and we're seeing if Alba is going to be healthy and back for this series. I'm hopeful. And Easton Barrett has done a great job on Sunday. So we'll look at see who's going to match up the best against them. But whether it be Benny or Jack, we'll see which one matches up the best.
Does that, sorry to follow up on that, does that calculation have to do with, the way certain guys are trending, or just, in a regional setup, you kind of want to, I don't know, maybe save a guy for a potential elimination game? How do you look at that?
I don't look at saving anybody. We'll empty the kitchen sink to win game one if we have to. And we'll go with our best guy that matches up the best, I think. And I think that's what we'll look at. If that's Benny, then we'll go with him. If that's Jack, we'll go with him. If it's somebody else, we'll go with them. But I think for me, you don't look ahead to game two, because game one will bite you if you do that. So we'll put all our eggs in trying to win that first game and go from there.
You touched on it a little bit, but what does the week of prep look like for you and your staff ahead of a regional where there's so many paths, so many teams that you need to prepare for?
We're preparing for, 90% of our preparation is for Irvine. And then beyond that, we played UCLA so far this year, so we have a little bit of a history and a book on them. And of course, Fresno is a team we haven't seen or prepared much for, but we will have if then type scenarios. We'll have a database on what they do, and this is a prep week where we gotta look at all options and at least have a basis for what we're doing, and then obviously based upon the results of the first game, we'll shift courses on who we're playing next and take a deeper dive into those other two teams on who we're playing after Irvine.
You guys tied TCU with the most all Big 12 players, 6, and need 6 more honorable mentions. What does that just speak levels to the recognition of talent that this team has and their ability to compete with anybody in the country?
I think it's done a great job. I give the credit to my staff. Our recruiting coordinator Sam Peraz has done a great job bringing in talent here. Our coaches have done a great job developing the talent once they get here, and a lot of these kids we've gotten from freshmen as walk-ons. Kian Vu was a walk-on. Jacob Tobias is a walk-on. Jonah Giblin's a walk-on. Derek Schaefer, walk-on. Lucas Kelly, walk-on. Those guys are all kids that have come here not chasing money. Maybe some didn't have opportunities elsewhere, and we brought them here and they wanted to be at Arizona State, and our coaching staff's done a phenomenal job. Jeremy Ricardo's done a great job with these arms that developed them and getting them better. And these guys were not highly recruited from other places, or either that, or we just financially we brought in those type of guys, right? So I'm just extremely proud of our coaches for the work they put in and getting these guys better, and what we've done with them. And moving forward, the Matt Kings, the Kyle Walkers, finding those diamonds in the rough that come in here, and you've seen what kind of years they've had. Not only because they want to be here, but this place just has a way of making kids better and giving them the opportunities to play beyond here. And to me, that's what we're doing a great job of at this program, and a lot of these kids are going to get the opportunity to play beyond and to get recognized from our conference that we got some pretty good players here has been great. Last kid I'll talk about, Isaiah Jackson, just a guy that everyone the last couple years, I don't want to say gave up on the offensive part of it, but just continue grinding with that kid, and it clicks, and all of a sudden he has the year he's had this year, and it's just great to watch those kids develop and grow and become the players they can be.
What did you see in Kean coming out of high school that maybe somebody else didn't see?
I saw a phenomenal arm, an athletic kid, and a kid with pop in his bat and a nice swing, and a 4.0 student. And so when we put those things together, and he's a kid that came to one of our camps here, and he got turned down by some other Big 12 schools that said, we don't think he can play at this level, and he came to our camp, and I'm, who's that kid out in right field? And I watched him all camp and said, there's something about that one that I kind of like, and talked to him about how his academic situation was. 4.0 student out of high school, and I knew he was going to get a lot of academic money. I said, hey man, we'll take you. You want to walk on? And okay, I'd love to come to Arizona State. And next thing you know, the kid's goes from a walk-on to an All-American. And it's, again, one of those tributes to this program, our coaching staff for continuing to grind with him, the effort that kid has put in, and just head down and grind type mentality. He just is a phenomenal young man, phenomenal player, and again, all the things that ASU brings to a young man's potential for their career, he's exploited and done everything that's been asked of him, and he's made himself a pretty dang good player.
How do the personalities in the locker room, Kean Hughes, Tobias, Isaiah Jackson, how much does that help you guys out on the field with just your overall chemistry with everybody out there?
This is it's a fun team, and for me, that's what I got extremely emotional yesterday, just because I was so happy that these guys are going to get the opportunity, because they work hard, but they have a lot of fun. They keep me, I know it doesn't look like by the color of the hair and the lessening of the hair, they keep me young in a lot of ways, just because of their personalities and how they go about it every day. There's days where I'm a little uptight and worried about the wrong stuff, and those dudes they keep me loose. Tobias especially, he's a kid that I just absolutely love him to death. All those guys, Kyle Walker, same way, great personality. They just have a way of, it's a good mix of kids. You have the Matt Kings of the world that are more stoic and serious and trying to keep things in order, and Kyle's laughing and chirping and trying to get away with how he wears his pants during the games, and pushing the envelope on team rules and whatnot. But it's a fun group of kids, man. I'm super excited for them, and wouldn't want to go to battle with anybody else than this group.
What does it mean seeing Jacob, who's been here all 4 years with you, finally get to make that breakthrough, reap the benefits, and make that postseason berth?
To me, that's I'm excited for all of them, but especially a kid like Jacob, who's really got punched in the stomach last year and didn't. He thought he was going to get drafted and move on, and we all did, and that didn't work out for him. That's a young man that had the opportunity, if he wanted it, to go in the portal and probably make some pretty good money somewhere else. But he's a Sun Devil. He's a Sun Devil at heart. He loves it here. He knows what this program is about, and for him to come back, and I told him, hey man, come back, and with the team we got coming back, we're going to make a run, and I want you to be part of that and get to a postseason, and let's make a run together. And he's like, Coach, I don't have any intentions of ever going anywhere else. I want to come back here and see this thing through. If I'm not going to get drafted, see it through, and let's go do this. And so for him to go 2 feet in and get this opportunity, it just makes me happy for him. But again, not just him, but all those guys in there. But you're asking about him specifically. He deserves it as much as anybody in there.
Willie, for you personally, was there just a sigh of relief yesterday when you got the name called and you're in the tournament? Was there a moment just for you?
A little bit, if I'm being perfectly honest. Obviously I set out to do a job here and to move this program forward, and of course, I want to be part of a postseason run as well. But I think at the end of the day, I've tried to do my best to never put myself in front of these kids, because this is their journey and their program. I'm trying to guide them and coach them and lead them in their journey. But yeah, I think if at the end of the day, when the doors are closed and I'm in my office by myself, yeah, I was extremely, I was relieved is the right word, but just, okay, now we get to go experience this, and this is what we strive for, you know, this is what we strive to do when we get here, get to the postseason and make a run. You know, we thought we had a shot a couple years ago. The last couple years have been very close, but haven't cracked through the door, and now we are. I just think this is hopefully a sign that the program is moving in the right direction. Again, I spoke on the fact that we have, you know, a lot of investment now going into the program moving forward, which is going to be a huge thing for this program moving forward. We just made the first step this year toward that, and now having an influx of scholarships and things that we can work with moving forward, it just is a great stepping stone moving forward for this program.
Yes, and a lot of that is the pressure of the history of this program, decades and decades.
Hey, this is what, you know, and it's a tribute to the guys that have been here. I've spoken a lot on that, on people before me built this place and have set the standard for here. It is an extremely different era. And again, even since I took this job, I'll be the first to admit, there was no transfer portal, there was no NIL when I took this job, so I was not expecting all this stuff. And the landscape has changed dramatically over the last couple of years, and it's been very difficult to navigate. However, I think now that we have our, not only myself and staff, but also the university, and everyone kind of is getting a grasp on this new landscape, baseball is a lot more challenging across the board and across the country, because there's a lot more parity. There's a lot of great players. But yes, the history of this place speaks for itself, and I think the expectations will always be here. I've felt those. I know those are always going to be the expectations, regardless of the landscape changes. People don't want to hear that, but when you're in the midst of it every day, it's a difficult landscape. Then it's much different than it used to be, and it's one that once we can figure out, hopefully, moving forward, we can still be very successful moving forward in it.
When you think back to your postseason experience as a player, playing here, what are some of those first memories, first things that jump out to you?
Just it's what I remember. Just getting in the postseason was kind of what we were always targeting. How you finished in conference. I remember we didn't even look at our conference standings back then. It was kind of bizarre when I look back on it now. Like, we didn't even really care where we finished in conference, because we knew we were trying to achieve something bigger. And so I guess that was me being maybe blinded or novice to the whole idea of everything back then. But I don't even know where we finished in conference when I was here, because we just had a bigger goal in mind. And so I think that's kind of what I remember. You know, the regionals down at Miami, those were, back at the time, those were 6-team regionals. We had 8 6-team regionals and made it to the regional finals against Miami. Got hearts broken there my freshman year, and then, you know, sophomore year we played for the marbles, you know, and played for the national title. And then junior year we experienced more heartbreak and didn't get in the postseason with 35 wins, I think we had that year. So, but yeah, the journey of it is, that's what it's all about. You know, when you get to the postseason, it's every game's a one-game season at that point in time. What you did the previous 56 games doesn't matter. We're in. Here we go. We can relax and go play our game, hopefully now, and make a run at this thing.
You mentioned just how much things have changed since you took the job and since you were a player, but is that part of it right there? Just the timeless element of this, and your experience in postseason baseball is still, you know, something that you can message to them, like, hey, I've been there, this is what to expect.
Yeah, I think so, and regardless of the landscape and how difficult it is, and a lot of coaches that I've talked to are like, geez, you picked a hell of a time to get into college sports, man. But regardless of all that aside, now that we are in this pool of 64 teams, everything else just goes away, and it's just about the joy of playing together. the excitement of postseason baseball, and nothing else matters except the guys next to you and what you guys do together, and how you perform in that element is you have a chance to do something very special that you'll never forget. And for me, that's what I try to impress upon these guys is relax, let it out, and go have fun. If you try to put too much pressure that we got, no. This is all icing on the cake. Go play and enjoy and have fun. You've earned this, and this journey is going to be one that you'll never forget. So take advantage of it. Remember every pitch, compete every pitch, do what we do and what we preached upon all year long, and let the results happen, because they will if they go play the way they're supposed to.
I apologize if this has already been asked, but what has it meant to kind of have Ben lead this pitching staff for the past couple of years and kind of just keep this pitching staff up into a strikeout category that hasn't been really seen before?
Well, I think you know, the bigger story I think with Benny is just how he's evolved the past couple of years. And again, this is a guy that you know, chose to jump in the portal and came here as a respectfully a very immature kid that was worried about all the wrong stuff. And to see his development and growth, and he still knows he's a work in progress, but to see his development and growth from the last 2 years, not only mentally, but physically, just doing what he's capable of doing on the mound, has just been one of those things that you get a whole lot of joy out of as a coach, knowing that the talent and the tools were there, but we just needed to put it all together. And again, he's not a finished product yet, but he's improved an obscene amount since when we first got him. And to me, that's a tribute to our coaches and what they're doing with them, and how we're all trying to work together to get these kids prepared for this run that we're about to go on, and then also beyond when he has the opportunity to play beyond next year in professional baseball. So, but to have him and Jack and those guys as staples in our rotation this year has been it's been great. So hopefully we can tap into the full potential starting this weekend and go a long ways with them.
What needs to happen? What X factors for you to advance this weekend to pull off the upset and leave UCLA headed to the next round?
You know, I think for us it's going to be do the fundamental things, and I think we can play with anybody. So as long as we long as we play aggressive and our style of play, I've said it all year long, I'll put us up against anybody. We need to attack the strike zone on the mound, and we need to be aggressive offensively to pitches up in the zone and stay in the middle of the field. It's the things we preached all year long. If we can stick to our game and do what we've done all year long when we've had success, to me, those are the biggest things, is stay fundamentally sound and do the things that we're capable of doing, not too much. Just be ourselves and go out and play aggressive baseball. You bet.